talk about Lab coin. As you can see, Lab has went down 87% inside of the last 24 hours. And the whole way down, me and the Crypto and Options Edge group have been trading it and have been talking about it the whole way down. So we're going to talk about this. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor, none is financial advice, but I've been talking about how Lab is a scam coin for the longest, how it's a pump and dump, and how it will eventually go down to $2 and lower. And that's exactly what happened today. As you can see, we're down 88%, well, 89%, whatever you want to say, in the last 24 hours. It continues to go down, so it's going to continue to create new numbers, but is down a lot in the last 24 hours. And we've done everything that I've been mentioning that's been happening here. As you can see, now we're at $1.39. If you come all the way back here and look at the daily chart here, I actually mentioned Lab was going to dump all the way up here at $28, and then it dumped. Then I mentioned it was going to pump, for which it did pump after that. And then I mentioned it was going to dump again, which it did exactly that. And then I mentioned that people were going to get bear trapped and it was going to pump again, and it did. Then I also mentioned that it was going to dump again immediately after that, and it did that again. And then I also mentioned on the way down that there would be a temporary breakout, because since it's a pump and dump, the second the bulls see that, or the second the whales see that this is going to be a lot of shorts, the second a lot of people take shorts, they're going to go ahead and long. And that's exactly what it did. It went from $4 all the way back up to $7, and then it continued downwards. So I would be extremely careful with this. This thing is definitely a scam. It's definitely a pump and dump. It's oversold right now, so there's a possibility of it bouncing back. It's at $1.40 to one of the support areas. If you come all the way back here, we had two areas that I marked. We had resistance back at 93 cents, and then we had support at $1.42. And that is why I have these levels here marked, and that's exactly where we hit right here. But yeah, this thing could have been avoided if you had the proper guidance, I would say, because this is definitely a pump and dump. A lot of people are getting scammed. It's oversold on the hourly chart, on the percent R training exhaustion. You can see we're building some bullish divergence here on the hourly chart as well. Bullish divergence is classified as the lower lows on the MACD, well, higher lows on the MACD, while simultaneously getting lower lows on the charts. And as you can see here, we're now starting to create the higher lows on the MACD, which means lower lows will be printed on the charts, which means that we could possibly push down to 93 cents from here as well. But on the 15-minute chart, when you look at that, this is the most interesting. We also have bullish divergence here. Same thing, higher lows on the MACD, lower lows on the chart. There's going to be a temporary breakout, so we'll see how far that breakout goes. But let's talk a little bit more about the Crypto and Options Edge group. We got 4 members in here so far. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because on June 29th, I actually explained to one of the members how Lab was about to do a huge dump. This was when Lab was at $14, and now it's at $1.40. So like I said, you guys can make a lot of money joining this group here. But anyways, it says Lab looks like it's about to pull back to the 50-day moving average, and probably much lower once the rug pulling kicks in. Maybe it can pump once more, but I wouldn't trust it, right? And then that's exactly what happened. It ended up dumping from there, and people made a lot of money. Let's just say that, because there was a lot of opportunities to be made here. So that's what I said there. And then the next day, I then posted this, and then it says right here, Lab ended up dumping, like I mentioned in the last video. I think it will eventually hit the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. So it went from $14 all the way down to about $8. And then I was like, it's going to continue down, but first it's going to have a pump to the upside. So I said, I think it'll eventually hit the 200-day moving average, which it did, and which it's already passed that today. But the more important thing here is that after that, I said on the 4-hour chart, it looks like it could push up to the 50-day moving average on the 4-hour chart, right? And that was pushing up to $15. And I said also the percent R trend exhaustion is oversold, and the MACD is building bullish divergence. So what do you think happened after that? Well, right after I mentioned that, we actually ended up having the same exact pump that I said that we would. It actually ended up pumping immensely. It went all the way from $6 all the way back up to $18. So imagine how happy people were in the group once they seen that another trade actually played out inside of their favor. But anyways, that ended up happening on Lab. And then I was like, all right, now it's time to predict the next dump since we just had a major pump. So after that major pump, I was like, okay, possible short-term recovery for Lab just now happened. So then after that, I then go ahead and post this. So this one says, it looks like Lab analysis was right. I still think it's a bull trap despite the bullish breakout from the bullish divergence. Expect bearish continuation on the MACD. The 4 hour was bullish divergence, which is why it pumped recently. But the 1 day chart is bearish divergence and will continue down probably to the 200-day moving average. If you look at that, the 200-day moving average, $3.30, it ended up going down and even further below there. So as we were going down, I continued to, and I wouldn't even call these predictions. These are reactions, right? We're reacting to the market. We're reacting to the divergence on the MACD. We're reacting to all the different indicators, right? We're not predicting nothing. We're just reacting. And this is what real traders do. You react to the market. You don't try to predict the market. If you try to predict the market, you're going to get burned and you're going to lose a lot of money. You never want to try to predict. You always want to react, right? So the next thing that happened, I said also, Lab is doing exactly what I mentioned because after it dumped, obviously, and it did exactly what I mentioned before. $2 coming soon. Be careful shorting it though, because it could switch bullish in a blink of an eye. Since it's a pump and dump scam coin, the second the whales notice people are going heavy on shorts, they will push the price back up to liquidate shorts. And then when shorts switch long, they will push the price back down to liquidate longs. It's funny, but I called it literally play by play. So anyways, I mentioned it would dump. And then from $18, it ended up dumping again down to where I mentioned that it would dump to. And then it continued even further from there, right? Even further, it continued down. So then I pulled up the 1 minute or the 1 hour chart, and it said the 1H chart is in the oversold region of the %R trend exhaustion for Lab. So the reversal back up could happen any moment now. I'd avoid shorting it and I'd avoid longing it as well. Let it break out and reach overbought levels again before shorting. So if you look right here, actually it went all the way down to $4.09. Well, $4, let's just say it went all the way down to $4. And then from there, it pumped all the way up to $7, just like I mentioned it would. And then from there, it continued to dump. All right. So then after we had that continuation downwards, let's go ahead and type in Lab again. And this is all on the Crypto and Options Edge group. You can go ahead and check it out. Link is inside of the description. But after that had happened, now we get all of this, which is pretty much what I've been talking about today. So today, as I wake up, I see Lab has did exactly what I mentioned again. So Lab dumped all the way down to $2 just as expected. And that was right here. And then I was like, okay, now we're going to continue to go down. So then I also mentioned EVA Protocol. I'll make a whole video on EVA Protocol, but another member asked about EVA Protocol. And I was like, hey, if it doesn't go below the $2.30 support, then it's going to pump up to $3.50. That's exactly what it did right there. But we'll talk about that in a whole nother video. But for Lab, right, our member Craig Beats, shout out to Craig Beats. He made a lot of money on this. He said, you're going long on Lab? And I was like, no, not yet. The %R trend exhaustion is showing a huge discrepancy between the short and long-term trend. Also, the MACD seems like it has a bullish divergence, which is good. The only issue is the %R on the 15-minute looks risky. There might be one more lower low coming in. There's also the scenario of the bullish double bottom, but it's better to get in slightly later than too early. Now, this was at $2 pretty much when I mentioned this, right? And if you look, I'm like, no, there's a huge discrepancy. It's probably going to end up going a little bit lower. And then that's exactly what started happening, right? Lower lows incoming. Look at the 30-minute, and I was updating them, 24/7, updating them as it was going down and down. As it was at $1.76, and like, yep, shorts are in play. Shorts are in play. It continues to go down as I continue to mention that shorts are in play. And then when you look at it now, it did exactly that, and shorts were in play the entire time. But now I would be extremely careful with Lab because it has sold off so much. This is a huge risk, right? We have the support at $1.40. We have the support at 90 cents. Right now, we are still bearish. We're still selling off. There's a possibility we can push down to 93 cents. But remember, we still have bullish divergence on the 15-minute chart. Remember, bullish divergence is higher lows on the MACD and lower lows on the chart. So as we're creating these lower lows on the chart, we're getting the higher lows on the MACD. The real question is this the last higher low on the MACD and the last lower low on the chart, or will we continue downwards? That is the true question. And when you look at the percent arc trend exhaustion, we're still in the oversold region. So there's still that possibility that we could see it continuing to 93 cents. But I would honestly hold off on this, let it dump. Even if it dumps, you might miss this trade, but it has over exhausted its selling pressure. So I would not be trying to short at this moment, even though you might be able to ride the shorts from $1.42 to 93 cents. By the time I put this video out, it's probably going to be at either 93 cents or it's probably going to have made up the decision of whether or not it's going to pump. And as you see, as I'm recording the video, it goes from $1.42 immediately down to $1.30. So yes, by the time I get this video out, you're not going to have the opportunity to short it. And that is exactly why I'm telling you guys, you need to join the Crypto and Options Edge group, because I would literally got that out to you literally within seconds. All right. So anyways, like I said, be careful. You don't want to short right now. It's too late at this point, but I'm gonna try to update you guys as soon as possible. But yeah, it's way oversold, and I would be very careful. But anyways, check out the Crypto and Options Edge group, link in the description. Only $98 a month. Someone has already made $5,000 the first day they joined. Shout out to Craig Beats. No, I think it was like the third day. But shout out to Craig Beats. He's made $5,000 off of one trade, which was a super good trade. And we were just making money inside of this group. So go ahead and check it out. Link inside of the description. Also, check out the link in the description for Vanisfi, best DeFi perps trading platform on the Base network. So you can go ahead and check that out. Check out the Crypto Options Edge group. And also, if you are a member of the YouTube channel, go ahead and recommend inside the comments what you want me to go over next, because I need some recommendations from the members and give me a reason to make some more YouTube videos. So yeah, shout out to all of you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. As always, I'll be back with another video.